There is nothing permanent in my work, so the COVID is not going to change the trajectory of my work in any significant way. Since my work is about change, it's always changing. It's always developing, taking different directions. There is nothing static, nothing permanent. Life itself is transient, and that's the beauty of it. I think the most precious thing about life is floating nature. We live in a floating world, and we get briefly separated from this cosmic ocean. We are like waves in the ocean which merge back into the ocean. The COVID has been a great memento mori. It reminds us of our mortality. It reminds us of the impermanence of it all. I paint in the moment. I never think of the future or the past. I just paint the moment and live it fully in all its intensity. In this work, which is called the cosmic wave, does the wave, before merging into the ocean, question its destiny. There are many artists through history who have inspired me, so it's very, very difficult for me to say one particular artist, but I'm extremely fond of the great Zen painters, the Chinese and the Japanese landscape painters, who have a collection of. I have the scroll, which has been a great inspiration for my works. I love the stillness and the calmness and the play of voids, the emptiness that this work has, and some of the other scrolls have, like the swaying bamboos. I love the fact that these works are so tranquil and so calm, and some of them have these wild forces of nature lashing the landscape, but the person is still calm, like this person in the boat who's just sailing peacefully. Art is ultimately lived in the mind. When we view a work of art, it leaves a certain imprint, it leaves an impression on our mind, which can be cherished and relived, which is what I do with so many works of art. I just close my eyes and I recollect that experience, which can be very helpful in this digital age. But something like a sculpture, which has scale and which has texture, and especially in my work, I think the scale is very, very important. And I think it will be a pity that if we lose the possibility of viewing them firsthand, that will really be sad, because you cannot experience it virtually. You have to be surrounded by the work, smell it, touch it, feel it, and experience all the joy that it gives you. Art is a stream of consciousness. That essential quality of the very essence of art running through our minds, through our consciousness, will remain. Even if it goes digital, it becomes virtual. The process was already heading that way, into that kind of a future. I think COVID will only accelerate the process. Art has tremendous power to impact change and bring communities together. This is evident from the earliest paintings, which were in the caves of Lascaux, where the artist, by painting the hunting scenes on the walls, somehow could capture the prey onto the walls, and the people gathered, the cavemen gathered around him, were the first communities which were protected from the elements, the wild elements outside. Then we see this again in the temples, in the monolithic temples of Angkor Wat, where the first, the faces were first Buddhas on these large stone carvings, and they were changed into Shiva by when the regime changed. They were, with slight alterations, they were changed into Shiva. So this again influenced, art influenced the way life was seen. Art has the power to heal, and this was brought to me very alive when in my last show this painting was hanging in the show, and one girl was coming again and again to see the work over 1 week. And on the last day, her mother came and told me that her daughter had sent her. She was on her way to the hospital. Her husband was dying, and she spent 1 hour before going to the hospital, and she thanked me and she said, "Now I can face death. Thank you for healing me." I guess one prized work would be my sculpture, the 23 feet copper sculpture called the Buddhas Within, which is in the Prince of Wales Museum in Mumbai. It took me 8 years to absorb the experience and develop the concept. This work, I suppose, speaks of the tremendous pain and suffering that I saw all around me, and it also reflects on the Buddhist way to deal with this suffering in this universe.